We're now a little bit lower through the next zone. What I want you to look at here is in the foreground. In this past Nick Point, this little waterfall, what we saw was all of these blocks kind of breaking off from the top. But here what we see is this sort of smooth rock. And of course there's some breaking from the bottom, but in the middle, what we see are these very smooth forms that include zones all the way down to here. It's eventually breaking out. Oh my gosh, check that guy out. All right, a little bit of a biology break here. Love the little stinger in the back. I'm not gonna touch him, but how cool is that? Go little guy, go. Find some shade, have some fun, live a good life. All right, back to geomorphology. So what we can see in the middle here is that we have this very, very smooth zone of rock. And you can't feel it, but what I feel is just kind of like this bit of roughness, but I can't feel the individual mineral grains so sharply. Pieces have been broken off. And what you can also see is that we have zones where the spacing between the fracture is really wide. How wide? All right, let's bring my foot up here and then see what we can do. Maybe I'm in the shot, maybe not. There we go. So hopefully that worked. If not, I'm estimating maybe like a little over 1/2 meter spacing between these two fractures. So these blocks are way too big for the flow to carry directly. And therefore we have to revert from, the flow has to revert from this more efficient mode of erosion, plucking or quarrying, to a less efficient mode, which is called abrasion, where the gravel coming in from upstream and the sand individually is impacting the zone and is knocking pieces off. If I back up just a little bit and see two more things. One, there's a big pile of sediment out at the front of it. These are all the sediments that whoosh down that bit of the waterfall, go into this mini, what we call plunge pool in front of it, but then are deposited onto the relatively flat surface downstream from this nick, from this zone of steepness. The second thing that we see is that above it, there are these kind of little bit of a flatter zone. So that could have been a zone where previously this nick point was holding material up, probably holding sediment behind it or preventing bedrock erosion at least behind it. And then when flows came through that were able to cut down through this, it left this little tiny platform. So it's like perhaps, I hypothesize, a baby version of a strath terrace. That meaning a bedrock surface where a river used to exist. And then this little slot has cut down in between them. So this narrow, steep zone right here is formed by abrasion when the bedrock fracture spacing is far too wide to remove an individual block.